This is not your first vehicle.
No, no, this is number 3 for me, Adventure Van 3.0. Kind of, I guess I could call it a midlife crisis, and was working myself to the bone. So screw this, I am gonna do something different. It was like the skies opened up to relieve that unfulfilled, uncontent feeling. All right, well, this is my home here. Again, it is a 10-foot retired Uhaul box van. The box is exactly 10 feet from the front of the box to the back wall. And the biggest job on the conversion was those moving vans have the roll-up door, and I did not want that. They're not airtight, they're noisy. So I removed that and framed out a wall in the back and built this door. So this was really the first job, because once that door was gone, I had no security inside, so we had to get the wall and door built, and then I started on the inside. So.
Now, do you have a carpentry background, or do you have experience in that?
No, my dad's very handy. He was a mechanic and did dabble in woodworking, and all his brothers built their own houses back east, so I have that familiarity with it.
All right.
Always been a little handy and just willing to attempt things and fail. Yeah, welcome to come on in.
All right, let's
Welcome to my home. Little screen there.
Keeps the bugs out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cozy in here.
So yeah, this is it, guys. Welcome. This was a job. This was the fastest van build I think I've done. This in two-week periods. And there was a couple of weeks in between those 2 weeks. So the fellow that helped me, and he had some carpentry experience, he helped me frame out that back wall and build the door, and I did the windows at his place. And then moved on because I was on the road, and then another guy reached out to me on the other side of Florida, and we ended up in his driveway for 2 more weeks, and that's where I pretty much finished it. I've done some detail stuff after that, but the core of it, windows were in, insulation, there's foam board behind the paneling, on the ceiling, roof vent, solar, all that did in that 2-week period. So it took me a month of working sun up to sundown every day for those 4 weeks, and this is kind of what it is now. I got the box van. U-Haul retires them. They're usually between 100 and 110,000 miles, and they always sell them for right around $995, and I got mine for $9,000.
All right.
And it had 130,000 miles, a little more than I wanted, but still doable for me. And I honestly have not tallied up. I was just looking at my envelope. It says box van build receipts, and I have yet to tally it up. I did this pretty much, when was that? That was COVID. So, and prices are still inflated. So lumber was very expensive.
Oh yeah.
And I've always been a pretty minimal build type person. I think going excessive is just not my style. It adds way too much weight for a van anyway. So I tried to keep it my typical simplistic kind of industrial utilitarian style. I would guess I'm around the $4,000 mark.
That's pretty cheap though.
Yeah, with everything. I've paid for the solar panels and everything else, all the wiring and stuff. So my previous vans, my electrical stuff was always hidden under the bed. And then months would go by and I'd realize, oh yeah, I should inspect my electrical for safety. And I'd go under there and something would be loose and it's hard to get to. So I went the route of having everything exposed. It's right here. I don't ever forget about it.
Smart.
And I try to every month or so go and check all my terminals. This is the inverter here, charge controller. I've got shut-off switches for everything. This is kind of an RV style. It's got my AC breakers and DC fuses, distribution box. AC outlets here. DC is powering a fridge. I have an Engle fridge freezer combo, which is kind of a new addition for me.
Nice.
It's got a freezer section in the back and then the fridge up front, and it works great. It works fabulous.
That's perfect.
I've got 3 big solar panels up front. I want to say they're 190 watts each, so that's 570 watts total, going into the Victron charge controller, which goes to 4 100 amp hour lithium batteries.
Oh wow.
So I pretty much have an excess of battery when it's sunny out, but it comes in handy. I was up in Washington up until the fall, and when it got cloudy, I was able to put that bank to the test. I was able to go 5 days without any sun and still run everything I needed to run. I have a diesel heater as well, which is hidden under here. That's what this hose is in this control box. And that runs off a diesel fuel, which is an extra tank up front, but it also uses electricity for the fan. So I was in my old setup with a smaller battery bank, AGM batteries. I couldn't run that heater through a snowstorm because I didn't have enough power. And that was the time I was like, you know what, when my next system, I'm going to beef it up. So I don't have to worry about that. Anyone who watches my YouTube channel, they know I'm all about the cooking. I've loved to cook since I was a teenager. I was a Boy Scout, and my scout leader, we were a very camping, backpacking based troop. And he had one rule: no top ramen and no Pop-Tarts. Like, he wanted us to learn how to cook, and I've been running with that ever since. So I have a 2-burner Dometic stove here. Not super happy with this. I love it when it works, but these do not work over like 7,000 feet elevation.
Oh, you're kidding.
So I have a backup camp stove, the classic 2-burner under my bed that I'll pull out when I want to cook outside and in high elevation. So if I would have known that going in, I would not have gone with that. So I'm deciding if I want to switch it out. I liked it because it was a set-in, and I cut this board to be the exact, so I kind of have a space when I'm not using the stove. This is running off a bulk tank, which is stored underneath here. I've got a little 1-gallon refillable tank, so I don't have to use the reusable green ones. Perfect. And that 1-gallon tank, as much as I cook, lasts me up to 3 months at a time. I don't use a sink. I get asked that a lot. How do I do dishes? I try to not create dishes, for one. I try to minimal 1-pot meals. Lick my plate clean, literally, and then I do the vinegar trick. Usually spray stuff down with vinegar, keep a ton of dish towels on hand to save on using paper towels, clean it up with the vinegar, and it dries clean, and that's kind of my dish thing. I do the weed sprayer pump-up bottle. I use that for showering, and if my dishes are real bad, I'll go outside and use that. No running water. Right behind you, that's one of 3 5-gallon bottles with a little pump top. And I usually get filtered water from Walmart or filling stations. And that's my drinking fresh water. I found with the sink, actually my very first van my original build had a sink. And I find that sinks just make it way easier to use more water.
That is true.
I conserve water as a thing for me. There's times when I think it'd be convenient, but that little pump sprayer really does the job, you know, to wash my hands or shower. I just do all that outside. This is my bed / couch. This is a recent addition I'm real proud of. I made this fold down.
I saw the video on that. You making that. It was an awesome idea.
Long time thinking about it, and then finally did it. Because without that, it's pretty uncomfortable to sit here. I built this bed high for storage, but it ends up not being the most comfortable sitting. But adding this has turned it into a very nice lounge. I set up my iPad, watch movies, and when I'm ready to go to bed, it's pretty much all set up. This is my comforter. I just unroll it, I lay a sheet down, and I'm good to go. Although it is set up to these to pull out, and this mattress comes down, and I can do a full bed. It takes up the whole area.
Okay, so no more walking space.
Yeah, so when I feel like just sprawling out after a backpacking trip or something, it's nice to do that. I do have a girlfriend. She'll come over and join me sometimes, and we can have a full bed. So.
Oh, that's a cool, and that takes up so little room just in that slat system.
Yep, yeah, it works out real good, and it's comfortable. This is just an IKEA foam mattress under there. The windows were additions too. Purposely built them up high so when I'm sitting, people can't see me. And I can get up and look at what's going on out there.
So you mentioned backpacking. So what are the hobbies you do on the road?
Always been an outdoor person. Grew up camping with my family, backpacking and off-roading. So yeah, always been into hiking. We did backpacking in the Sierras since I was 5 years old. So that's kind of this station over here behind this hat. I keep my backpack here. This is my backpacking backpack. I've got my down sleeping bag up there. Behind this is shelving, which has just a lot of gear, tool type stuff. And I kind of like that my backpack hides all that.
It's almost like a door.
Yeah. I have a inflatable kayak down here. That's what's behind the water bottle. And then the gear to go with it, a PFD and paddles I keep, in different spots. Yeah, I actually used to have a mountain bike here, but I've acquired a motorcycle and started towing a trailer, and that bike is now in with the trailer and motorcycle in the trailer. So freed up some space in here. And yeah, the aim with all this for me these days is to get out there and enjoy the outdoors. So having all the gear to do that, you know, some people give me a hard time, like, oh, minimalism, this, and I'm like, yeah, I have hobbies, and I'm not going to give up my hobbies.
Nope, I have to have my toys.
Yeah.
And so when did you acquire the trailer?
This was a recent thing. So this being a rear entry, carrying the motorcycle on the back is doable, but it makes it really inconvenient. I bought a newer motorcycle and I just didn't want to have it exposed. So for me, having a small enclosed trailer was the logical decision. And since I've gotten it, I feel very good about it. It hasn't really inhibited where I go, and having the motorcycle is a huge perk for me. We've done some motorcycle camping trips. Being able to run into town from camp without breaking down camp, I can leave the van, save gas. It's been a game changer for me. It's really stepped up the quality of life for me.
Now, this is not your first rodeo, right? This is not your first vehicle.
No, this is number 3 for me, Adventure Van 3.0.
Perfect.
Started out in a 97 Dodge short van with the V6. That was a retired AT&T service van. And then I switched over to a 91 Chevy G20, the classic conversion van, and did that for a few years before I came upon this. This was something I've wanted for many years and kind of dreamed about, so it took me years of saving and the right time to find the right one.
And so are you happy with this one, or do you like it better than your other two?
I do. I think it's one of the perfect platforms for this. It's the same length as a standard van. So lengthwise, it's the same, fits in all the normal parking spots. It's just taller and a little wider with straight walls.
And the straight walls is huge for building things out.
Big time.
Yeah, with curved walls on a van, that's very difficult.
Yeah, big time.
How many years have you been on the road?
I moved into a van in my hometown of San Diego in 2014, January of 2014. I stayed in San Diego, living out of the van full time and working a part-time job for a year and 9 months. So September of 2015, I hit the road pursuing seasonal work, the sugar beet harvest and Amazon camper force, based on information I found through CheapRVLiving website.
Okay.
And that's kind of all she wrote. I haven't looked back since. I've been rolling on the road, working seasonal jobs since 2015, September.
And so what first inspired you? You're living in San Diego. What made you think, oh, I should live in a van?
Well, it didn't really happen like that. Back then, surprisingly, just back in, well, this was 2013, I was doing my research. Very little stuff on YouTube. There was just maybe a guy or two living in vehicles, and it wasn't hashtag van life. It was just guys living in vans. But Bob did have his website, and it was very, very informational, and they had the forum too, so you could go on there and hear people asking questions and people responding. And I arrived at Bob's website through kind of, I guess I could call it a midlife crisis. I had my own landscape business and was working myself to the bone and not happy, and just kind of had a moment where I was just said to myself, screw this, I am going to do something different. I had no idea what. So I folded my business and was researching all sorts of things. I just felt like I needed a richer life, more experience-based rather than routine-based. And through the online searches, alternative lifestyles, this and that, some of this digital nomad stuff came up.
All right.
And then boom, CheapRVLiving website came up. And that was, I shared about this the other day at RTR. It was like the skies opened up. There was just a whole new. And the first post I read of Bob's, he was talking about the state of kind of American life, how the rates of depression were through the roof, drug addiction and alcohol abuse, suicide rates being so, and it just, his answer was like, instead of trying to like change, you know, change your life for like the better in a big way. And he had some solutions and some options. And I didn't know it was going to turn into what it's now for me, but I knew it was something I could explore to relieve that unfulfilled, uncontent feeling. And it's changed my life. So yeah, this is kind of a modular build. I showed the bed. I wanted to do everything to where it all fits out of the back door. So these two are separate. I could unbolt them from the floor and the back wall and slide them out and move them out of the van if I need to. Same with this. So this is kind of my office desk space. I showed the little fold down footstool. I got my microwave in there. This is all food storage. These are pretty much junk drawers.
Everybody has those.
Yeah, and then these are kind of a new addition. I wanted to kind of have some bookshelves and stuff to store things. I eventually want to build doors so I don't have to pull everything out when I go to drive. This is the only thing that I didn't build by hand in here. This is a prefab, I think from Lowe's cabinet that I just bolted to the back. And this is mostly kitchen stuff in here and just easily accessible from the kitchen area. And they're on magnets. These are super strong magnets. They don't fly open when I drive. I probably should have a secondary latch, but I don't. So this is pretty much, it's all right here. Up front, we just have more storage. And I store my clothes up here. I probably should have a little curtain or something so people don't have to look at my underwear, but
yeah, it's all pretty neat.
It's my home, so
you don't like to get out.
Yeah, this is it.
Now, I did see one of your videos that you showed how you did the burning of these cabinetry. So what gave you that idea? That's actually, I think it's in kind of a old Japanese technique. There's a name for it. And it'll actually preserve the wood, although I did put polyurethane over it because it's a kitchen area, I need to be wiping it. I really like wood grain. I don't like stuff painted over. So that's how I ended up with that. I did these two, and then when I built all this, I thought, yeah, let's keep that theme going and continue with it. So yeah, I'm real happy with it all. Yeah. All right, and the age-old question, where do we use the bathroom? Use one of these. I know a lot of people use the bucket. This is kind of a, I want to say hospital style toilet seat. And it's got this little ring, so you put your bag in here, fold it over. That locks the bag in. You can sit down and do your business. When you're done, pull this ring out, tie the bag off, and I take the bags to the dump. Folds up, and I can just put it right under there and not have to worry about it. Brian, thank you so much for showing us your home and your build and the latest iteration, the 3.0 version of your van.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming by, Brian. It was actually good to chat with you and get to know you a little bit better. Me and Brian did meet quite a few years ago, like you said, but yeah, it's been awesome. I love showing off my home.
Very good. And if people wanted to find out more about your adventures and some of your builds and things like that, how can they get in touch with you or how can they follow you? Yeah,
it's YouTube is the place. I do Instagram as well, and it's AdventureVanMan, one word, on both platforms. YouTube is where I have all the van build stuff, show you everywhere I go, all the free camping I do. I exclusively free camp on public land. I show all the stuff I cook. Welcome all of you to come join me on my adventures. I'd love it.
It's some great videos. Like I said, I watched some the other day about how to do the woodworking, the burned woodworking part, and I was just fascinated. Great content. So thank you for sharing your knowledge with like everyone out there, because you are a wealth of knowledge and you have a lot of experience, and so we really appreciate that.
Thank you guys. I just love what you guys are doing as well, so appreciate it.
So folks out there, what did you think of his build? Have any of you built out a U-Haul style box truck before? And if you did, what was your experience? Let us know in the comments below. If you got anything out of today's video, please give us a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, we'll see you down the road. So long.